Welcome to Born or Made, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of success and identity. Are the traits that define us as leaders ingrained from birth, or are they carved out throughout our experiences? Join your host, Anne-Marie LaTulip, as we ask these questions to some of the most insightful and inspiring entrepreneurs of our time. Each episode, we explore their journeys, the decisions that shaped them, and how they've molded their own paths to success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply curious about the interplay between nature and nurture in professional growth, you're in the right place. Get ready for compelling stories, transformative insights, and a new perspective on what it really takes to make it in the world of entrepreneurship.
Welcome back to the Born or Made podcast. I'm your host, Anne-Marie LaTulip. And with me today, I have the lovely Anna Nenadic. Anna and I met each other actually a few weeks ago at an event we both spoke at in Vegas. So I'm so happy to have her here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Anna is a life coach who, after changing her niche 6 times in the last year, found her purpose in helping new entrepreneurs and small business owners make the difficult decisions necessary right when they start their business so they can avoid overwhelm and start bringing in money sooner. That sounds great. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so glad I'm here.
I am so happy to have you here too. Like I said earlier, we met at this event. We just totally hit it off. I think we spent the entire time together. So it's just so nice to have somebody, not only meet somebody that you really connect with at an event, but then to have somebody that you already know and know a little bit about on your podcast. So I'm excited to dive in a little bit deeper. And I was lucky enough to be on Anna's podcast last week, which you didn't say that in your bio, Anna. What's your podcast name? Let's talk about your podcast for a minute, because that was in your original bio, but you took it out. So.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. I'm the host of Thinking Out Loud podcast. That's my podcast where I like to create a space for anyone and everyone to share their thoughts and opinions. I started that because I found that I was silencing myself because I didn't feel safe to do that. And I wanted to create a space for other people that either they don't have that or they do feel scared and they want a safe space to share what's going on up in their brain. So
I love that. I love that.
Thank
And so
you.
how long have you been, you told me, but for anyone listening, how long have you been doing the podcast?
Yeah, so I started it in November of 2023, so almost a full year.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. And you stuck with it too, which is really hard. I know a lot of people that, because actually when I started my podcast, I actually had a podcast coach, and he was telling us a lot of people will start the podcast and maybe do, 2 maybe months or maybe 10 episodes and then just kind of fall off and let it go. And so to stay consistent with the podcast is great. So congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I mean, thank you, but also like I didn't stop after 10 episodes. I did a whole season I didn't know it was going to be a season. It was 23 episodes. And then I had this influx of things going on around me. So I took, I want to say, a 4-month break.
That's okay.
From recording new episodes. Oh yeah. No, I'd say if you feel like you need that, definitely do it, because now that I've come back, I just started season 2 last week. Now that I've come back, my focus is a little different for the podcast and I have more of an idea of where I want to go with it. So that pause, if you need it, pause, but come back. Like if you really love what you're doing, make sure you come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if it's giving value. Like I said, I was on Anna's podcast last week and I had a great time. So I'll make sure I post the link to that. I know it's not posted yet, but we'll make sure we have both links in the show notes. So, okay. So back to you, Anna, back to what you do. You call yourself, or say that you're a life coach, right? And that you've had 6 different niches, right? So can you talk a little bit about that and about sort of the progression through the niches? And did the first niche lead to the last niche? Did they all sort of go in order? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think it's funny But it's not funny when you're going through it because I was really frustrated after I got certified. And I just want to preface, I didn't know that I wanted to be a life coach. I kind of found it at the right time while I was actually a fitness coach. And before that, I worked in operations and business. But the reason I'm giving that little bit of backstory is because I think when you get into life coaching, everyone, with the skills we learn with rewiring your mindset, understanding your beliefs, figuring out what your values and your morals are, and how they actually affect all areas of your life. When you go through something like that, all you want to do is teach everybody how to do that exact same thing. But how do you do that without starting your own life coaching certification school? Because the people that want to learn that kind of stuff are probably also going to want to be life coaches. Not always, but the majority
Yeah.
of people are looking for that kind of deep transformation.
Yeah.
So the reason I say it's funny is because it took me a year and a couple of months to like try out everything that I'm interested in and see like if I could make it. It's not that I was trying to make it fit the life coaching mold, but I was like, oh, there's so much here in this one spot that life coaching could help, but not enough to like sustain a whole business. And like, what problem am I solving? That was the hardest question for me to answer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I started out coming out of the gate, I was a resilience and empowerment coach.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, it sounds awesome,
It
right?
does
But
sound awesome.
nobody's walking around thinking, I need some more resilience, No one's walking around saying that because most most people either see it in other people or they don't know that they don't actually have that. So it's not a problem I was solving. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna be a mindset coach. Same
Yeah.
thing. What what am I actually solving? Like what part of the mindset? What
Right. I was going to
specific
say that
thing?
seems broad, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went, "Ugh, I know the problem I solve. Loneliness, right? That's a huge thing, especially after the pandemic. A lot
Yeah.
of people are feeling lonely. But I was like, that is a giant problem. So let me try to narrow it down within that. But see, something within me didn't click because I couldn't see beyond that huge statement of like, I'm a loneliness coach. So then I became a burnout coach. And so I would try these things for 2 or 3 months and I would pivot. And it was so frustrating for me to do that, but part of me just kept saying like, do it. Just do it. Doesn't matter, just change what you're trying to do and make focus on it for a couple months. You'll find where you need to be. So anyways, after changing it those 6 times, I think the last one I ended up being like I called myself. It was a brief one. I don't even know what it was. Career? I was like career coach. Because I have a
Okay.
lot of experience with people saying, "Oh, like what should I do next?" And I'll help them, set their resumes up, dig into, those personality tests you take where it helps you figure out your career.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Okay, that's not all I want to do though." So, I took a step back while I was prepping for Vegas, that like last month and a half push. I had to like separate myself from it because I was so in the maze. Did
Yeah.
my speech, went to Vegas, met you. We had an awesome time, like you said. I think we spent the whole time together. It was great. But when I came back, I was like, "Whoa." Something in me, like my focus shifted because I'd gotten on a stage, told part of my story, and I was able to actually share personal things about myself. That was one of the biggest blocks I had, just in general, not only on social media. And so now I'm like, I want to help other people that are like going through this niche switching cycle when there are things like I said, there's business tools that can help you figure out what skills you're naturally good at, and having somebody else look at you from an outside perspective, they can help you connect the dots. And that's a big thing that life coaches do, and that's a skill that I learned, connecting the dots.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
And they kind of all do go together. All of
Oh
those,
yeah.
because now you're focusing more on, um, just having a clear mind and a clear path, which is kind of, I don't know, kind of all of those things put together. I can see how they relate. And it's funny. I think that what you said is true because you just started. This last pivot. It was
Yeah.
very recent after
Couple weeks ago,
a couple
yeah.
weeks ago. So I'm guessing you haven't really started working one-on-one with anyone yet, have you?
No,
Okay.
not in that realm. I'm starting to look now for those new entrepreneurs and small business owners and doing some outreach, which I couldn't do before because I didn't know who I was looking for.
Right. Oh, and see, that's so important. You have to know who you're talking to. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think as you start working with these people and discovering truly what their problems are and how they get caught up in their own minds, I think it'll evolve even more. I think it's a great niche.
Thank
So
you. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited.
And like thinking about the niches that I've cycled through, there resilience and empowerment is a huge piece of what happens when you go through a transformation like that. You learn how to have resilience, you learn how to, empower yourself and where you can find empowerment from other people. That is
Mhm.
like a byproduct of the work I'm going to do anyway. It's not my niche, but it's something that everybody who works with me will get anyway. They will get a mindset shift. There will be a
Mindset. Yeah.
career,
Yeah. And
right? So
even a loneliness aspect.
exactly.
Maybe they feel like nobody will support them in their journey, or
Yeah.
something, whatever loneliness means to them, so I
Yeah.
can see how maybe you
It's
needed to
so
try all of
intertwined.
those things first so that you can bring them all into what you end up doing in the end.
Yeah.
So that's so
I
cool.
think I do want to touch on that loneliness piece just for a
Yeah.
sec because I think this is common for a lot of entrepreneurs, and if it's not, it might just be a personal thing for anybody listening, but when you have an idea or you see something that you want for yourself and you know you're capable of, but you don't know how to get there, and then all of these decisions start blocking you even more right when you walk in the gate, you finally just took that big leap, you step in through the door of I want to start my own business, and the first thing you're faced with is 20 decisions that you've never had to make before. And it's overwhelming. And a lot of people turn around because they say, oh my God, I can't do this. Or where am I going to go? That feeling and that state where you're in can be very lonely because nobody else can see your idea and you don't know how to get it out yet.
Oh, yeah.
And that's also tied in with the mindset, right? Working with a life coach, business coach, someone you believe can help you will also help you build those skills to be able to explain what you want to do and not feel lonely being the only one that understands your vision. Like you have the ability to bring it to life. You just might not have the tools to do it yet. So,
I can relate to that. I mean, that is so true what you said about
mhm.
not having the knowing what you need to do, but not having the clear path to do it, I guess, is more something that I struggle with. And
Mhm.
mindset is so important too, because mindset is everything. And that's something I learned early on. And my mindset has changed so much from when I first started this
Mhm.
journey, even to after the event, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just so important to have awareness of mindset when you're going into
Yes.
business. Cause before I started this journey, I had no idea, how my mind would impact my business. But anyway,
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that prior to the life coach certification, you were a fitness coach.
Mhm.
So tell me about that. And what was it about being a fitness coach that led you or sort of pulled you toward life coaching? Were you
I
doing some
love
of that with
this.
your clients as a fitness coach?
No, but I love this question because it kind of digs into like the thoughts I was having when I was a coach. So I
Okay.
became a coach I got certified during COVID. My brother and his girlfriend at the time and his girlfriend at the time's sister, they were like, yo, there's this deal to get certified. Like, let's all do it together. So the four of us went through the certification and we were all personal trainers, but none of us did anything with it. So, it's great. I have it. But what am I doing with it? Nothing. I started to get super burnt out at my career through the pandemic, and I was just like, I hit this point where I was like, I'm done. Like, I got to do something for me, just for me. So I walked up the street to the local gym. I took a class and I said, hey, like, do you need coaches? And she was like, you're hired. I was like, don't you want to see my credentials? She's like, I just email them to me. When can you start? And I thought, wow, like this is easier than I thought it was going to be. So I started there like a week later. I started training. I was coaching these classes of 15 to 36 people at a time. And I loved helping. I've always been in the gym since I was 17. Um, I've been focused on nutrition and just making sure that my body's good so my mind can be good. And I could help other people do that. So I did that for about a year and it was great. Amazing. But every time someone would come to me and they're like, oh, that I'm struggling to come to the gym consistently. I'll come for 2 or 3 months and then something happens. And I thought, yeah, that sucks. I can't help you with that. And there was like this desire, like I was like, I wish I knew what to say or what to ask you to help you actually figure out why you're not coming consistently. And it just kept happening and oh, I'm injured. I feel like I'm gonna stop coming because I can't do the workouts to max effort. And I just kept like my heart was broken because I was like, no, you can come and we will help you. But there's this thing that the brain does when something unexpected happens. It will either push through or it will retreat and use it as an excuse to maybe like kind of fall back. And it's with anything, not just fitness. But these people, I was like, oh my, you guys are doing so well, but you're about to like let yourself fall off the tracks because of whatever's happening, XYZ. And so I just kept running into these issues, and I thought, if I had more time with you and I knew what to say, I could really, really help you. Like beyond just coming to the gym, like help
Yeah.
you everywhere. And then I got this email from the Jay Shetty School because I had subscribed to something on the internet. You know how that works. You get all
Yeah.
the
What is
email
that?
chains.
Explain what the Jay Shetty School is.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know what it was
Oh, you
until
didn't.
so Jay Shetty has an app called Genius, and it's like a community where you can meet like-minded people that are curious about meditation, getting more in tune with who they are, their purpose. It's got
Okay.
all sorts of resources in there. And that's how I got on the email list because I did the app for like a month and a bit. And the Jay Shetty Certification School emails me and I was like, what is this? Like, what? What the heck's a life coach? What?
Right.
What? So I was like, spam, delete. Yeah, I deleted it. I got another email like a week later, and I was like, oh, not this again. So I deleted it. Third time, I deleted it again, and I was like, what the? Like, I'm almost gonna unsubscribe here. And the fourth time it came, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch this intro video because I don't know what this is, but it keeps showing up. I watched the video. I booked my enrollment call just to see what's going on with the school, and within 10 minutes of that call, I'm giving this guy my credit card information. Not this guy, Jay Shetty, but the sales guy that was on the
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually found life coaching. And because I had been wondering, how can I gain the skills to help people in a more profound way, like on a deeper level? I was asking it for so long that the second I watched that video on what is a life coach, I was like, oh, that's what I've been looking for. But I
Wow.
didn't even know a life coach was a thing. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to have to create this whole new career and try to sell people on this role that I play in helping them figure out what's going on with them. Lo and behold, it already exists. So I'm a little
Yeah.
behind on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I know some of my mentors say that they would be nowhere without their life coach.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
successful people need life coaching, and people listening might think, what does a life coach do? But it's like Anna said, I think it parallels a lot with, because I actually have interviewed quite a few life coaches on this podcast, and I've talked about this. It kind of parallels with psychology, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's less technical, it's less medical. What's the
It's
word
more
I'm
like
looking?
spiritual on
Yeah, it's more spiritual, but
it's like
it's
spiritual psychology in a way.
yeah. And so some people shy away from, the medical side of it. And so if you're struggling with some things and you don't want to see a psychologist, then go see a life coach because it's similar. Um,
Yeah.
but I definitely think it's a necessary thing, especially for entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yeah.
For
100%.
sure. Um, so yeah, so I want to talk about the fitness coaching. I want to go back. Can we circle
Yeah,
back for
yeah.
just
Heck
just a
yeah.
minute? Okay. Do you still do fitness coaching at all?
I don't know.
No. Okay. So when you were fitness coaching, did you think at that time that that would be, you're going to have your own business, being a fitness coach or a personal trainer?
Never. No.
No. So it was never like the end game. for you.
No, I'll tell you what though. So I at the age of 15, I knew I'm gonna have my own business one day. It was just something I knew. And I was that kid that, I took as my electives in high school. I took accounting, entrepreneurship, business 101, all those courses. And I thought it was so fun to do that.
Oh, that's
And
so cool.
the thing is though, is I knew these skills would help me at some point, but I didn't know what my business would be. And the more I get into it, I realize that for life coaches, I think that is a common thing where we learn this amazing skill and we know how much it can help people, but we don't know what our businesses look like because when you become a life coach, it's really hard. Like we're talking right now, like people will shy away from life coaching because it's hard to say like what is the problem we solve. We solve whatever problem you have. There is not one problem that we solve, and they teach you that. You don't only help people that have gone through something similar that you've already been through. We actually the questions we ask are a lot more impactful when we haven't gone through what you're going through. It's almost counterintuitive, like the
Really?
opposite.
Oh,
It
that's
is
interesting.
because the curiosity that we have when we're asking about something we've never experienced is we're more curious because we don't have the answer in our head already. So we have to ask you to answer it for yourself in that situation, but we're also learning too.
That is
In
really interesting.
yeah.
Hmm.
So back to the business part, I became a fitness trainer and I thought, I could do this, but it wasn't like tickling my fancy, for
It didn't
lack of
light you
better
up.
words. Yeah. I loved helping people and I loved
Yeah.
seeing everyone and getting a good workout with them, but it didn't light me up. And then
Yeah.
and then the life coaching came around. But what I do want to say is when you have all of these skills that you've accumulated over your life from all the jobs you've done, the schooling you've had, the courses you've taken, the people you've met, right? You're not just learning when you go to a school and they give you a piece of paper that says you learned this. You're learning every day, everywhere you go. Everything that's coming through your eyes and your ears, you're learning
Hmm.
something. When I started switching my niches, it's because I kept thinking like I'm a life coach. But I'm not just a life coach. I'm a life coach with all of this experience. And so my business now is helping new entrepreneurs. That's where I'm at right now. I'm like a year or two into this and I'm still learning all this stuff, but I want to teach people what I already learned in this 2 years
Yeah.
because
That's
they might be in the same spot.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
And then you mentioned prior to being the fitness coach, you said you were burnt out with your job. What was it that you were doing? I think you mentioned it briefly earlier, but
Yeah, I was a project manager at a manufacturing company. I used to build restaurants, a lot of cannabis stores, a lot of BC liquor store upgrades. So I worked a lot with different trades and on job sites, which I love. I love working with my hands, but I also love working with my mind. So it's interesting how different. I used to build
yeah.
restaurants, and now I'm a life coach.
So when
So,
you say project manager, so you were working like in the construction, like right?
oh
In
yeah, so we
construction.
had
Yeah.
we had this huge building. Just in Burnaby. It's like a little business park industrial area and the project managers did a lot, like a lot. We would do the initial calls with the clients. Sometimes we'd actually help with the quoting if there was, short staff or influx of work, and then we would do like material takeoffs, getting people to purchase materials. If not, we would be purchasing it ourselves, and we'd be checking it on the floor every day. We had different teams with like lead hands, and so I think at one point I had 18 jobs going on at the same time, which was a lot. I think it was something like $21 million, and I was
Wow.
21 years old at the time. That
Wow.
for me, it was I felt so accomplished until I didn't because the accomplishment that I was constantly like working towards, that's what burnt me out when I wasn't fulfilled by it.
Oh
That's where
yeah.
the burnout hit me. Yeah, and I wasn't quiet about it either. Because I have an operations background and I went to school for operations, I kept asking, please, like I'll finish off my projects, but I really want to work on the process that this company's using because there was so many places I thought from what I've experienced and I've seen other people go through, people were burnt out. we were growing so fast that we didn't have the people to make up for it.
Mm,
Anyways, I wasn't quiet about it, but it almost felt like things like it was just like a band-aid, and then it just got worse. So it was I had a lot of breaking points at that job.
wow.
So
So that
yeah.
is, yeah, that is quite a difference. And so you mentioned when you were 15, you knew you were going to have your own business. So
Mm-hmm.
speaking to the title of the podcast here, I want to see what you think in terms of born or made, right? Are we
Yeah.
born entrepreneurs, or, do we evolve with those traits over time? So interesting that you knew at 15 that you were going to have your own business. But as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, did you display any entrepreneurial traits? And if you want to talk a little bit about what you talked about in your speech, that'd be great, because I'm wondering if feeling like you were silenced maybe prohibited you from
Mm.
displaying some of those traits
Mm-hmm.
that
Interesting.
a lot of us have. I mean, for me, I'll give you an example. I used to, um, go door to door selling seashells, or we would, well, about
Yeah.
the show, put on shows, put on carnivals in our backyard, that kind of thing. So I'm just
Charge
curious.
admission.
Yes, exactly.
That's
So I'm
you
just
just I'm glad you gave me that example because it did remind me of something that I did when I was like 7 years old.
okay. So let's
So
hear about little Anna.
yeah, little Anna. So I'll start with like a little piece of like the story I told in Vegas because
Yeah.
it is a big piece of the talk I gave was called When You Speak They Listen. And the story was going from silence to strength, specifically with figuring out how to use your voice. And your voice isn't just the words coming out of your mouth. That's actually the smallest part of your voice. That's actually expressing it. Your voice is your character. Your voice, you can find it in the decisions you make. You can find it in the clothes you choose to wear, the way you hold your body when you're speaking, the tone of voice. Like all of these different things contribute to your voice. And learning how to use it and what your voice actually looks and sounds like can give you strength. I think I felt silenced because I never had an opportunity to explore what mine sounded like. And every time I tried to use it, I was told I shouldn't have.
Mm,
And so when you're 7 years old and you're just sitting there confused, wondering, okay, why can't I ask these questions? Why can't I share these thoughts? Because I keep being told that I shouldn't ask that, or I said the wrong thing, or, watch your mouth, be careful who's listening. All these things that those were shaping my voice.
mhm.
I grew up thinking to myself, watch what you say, you don't know who's around you, and don't share too much about yourself. Now I look back and it makes me wonder, like, why were those the things that I was being told? Was it me or was it the person telling those things to
Yeah,
me?
you're right.
So that had been a big part of shaping me. But I think back to was I showing any signs of entrepreneurship? I must have been 8 or 9 years old when this memory takes place, and it was out on the front street of my childhood home. My friend and I had made a bunch of lemonade. And we collected raspberries. We had these massive raspberry bushes like surrounding the house, and my mom thought they were a nuisance. And I thought we can make some money.
Oh,
So,
see, there you go.
yeah, but I never thought of it this way. So I really appreciate you asking me that question. So we collected all these berries, and I had taken like blank sheets of paper and turned them into cones so that we could put the berries in them and people would just drive by. It was like a drive-through raspberry stand on the side of the street.
I love
And to get people in, we were doing cartwheels, handstands, all on the sidewalk because my friend was a gymnast, so she could do, back handsprings, back tucks. I don't remember if she was doing that on the concrete, but cartwheels really
Yeah.
attracted people.
Who
They
knew?
said, "Are you selling lemonade?" We said, "Yeah, but for a little bit extra, you can have a cup of raspberries." And then we found blackberries and all this stuff. So we started, that was like 1 week of the summer where we were just like, well, we can actually like make some money doing this. It didn't go any farther, but that's probably the first time I actually, sold something on the
That's
side
awesome.
of the
You
road.
had an upsell. I love
Yeah.
it. That is
Yeah.
so cool. So,
Hmm.
did you grow up with any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother. one year older. We're practically twins, but he's older.
Okay. And is he an entrepreneur?
He is, yeah. He started his own business 7 years ago.
Now, do you ever talk with him about
Oh yeah.
how, you know what I'm going to ask you?
No, maybe. I don't know. But we talk about business. Sorry. Ask the question.
Okay. No, do you ever talk about how you felt silenced as a kid and did he experience the same thing?
That we don't talk about.
Interesting.
No.
I'd be curious to see if he felt that way too, because you said, is it
Mhm.
me or is it the person? You automatically, if you're 7 years old, it's not likely you. It's likely the person
Yeah.
telling you, right? So it just makes me
I
wonder.
wonder. I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only reflect on what I've seen. We're very different. I mean, we grew
Oh,
up really close, but the two of us are very different. When I was told I shouldn't have said what I said, for me it was like, you know what? It's easier to just stay quiet. So I became an observer and a thinker because I could say whatever I wanted in my head. Nobody would hear it. I don't think he took the cues the same way I did, where, I think he was more vocal about what he wanted to say, just from the
okay.
memories I have, but maybe he perceives it a lot differently. I don't know. I am
Maybe.
curious. I am curious. I do want to talk to him about that.
That is, yeah, that's interesting. Especially if that's going to be sort of your platform when you speak. It'd be
Hmm.
cool to see what he, what his experiences were. But anyway, just a thought.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me, I know that this is a new endeavor for you, but do you have anything exciting planned coming up in terms of starting this or launching this business? Do you have a webinar or any type of event scheduled or a
I don't
book?
have anything. I don't. I don't. I don't have anything scheduled on the books, but what I am working on right now is a workshop
Oh, good.
for
Okay.
new entrepreneurs, small business owners who are struggling with these decisions. I'm gonna say couple months. I don't have a date yet, but
Okay.
it is
Well,
something I'm working on.
yeah. Well, you and I will definitely stay in touch. So
Of
I'll
course.
definitely make sure everybody knows how to access a ticket to that workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so if anybody is listening and says, "Hey, you know what? I really want to talk to Anna. I think she could really help me." How would they find you?
Instagram.
Instagram,
Yeah.
that's your platform of choice?
Yeah. At the dot coach dot Anna. Super
Yeah.
simple. The
I'll
coach
have it
Anna.
in the notes too. But
Yeah.
okay, awesome. So I don't know if you watched one of my podcasts, have you?
Not yet. No.
Okay. So at the end of every episode, we're wrapping up here, but at the end of every episode, I always fire off three just random questions
Let's
to
go.
get to know
Love
you
it.
better. Okay.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Number one, and I think I know how you're going to answer this one, but let's see. If you had the opportunity to go to space and walk on the moon, would you take it?
No.
Oh, you surprised me. I thought you were going to say
Really?
yes. Interesting. I wouldn't either.
Ah,
I wouldn't either.
no.
No,
Why did you think I'd say yes?
because you just seem like, yeah, I'll try anything, Yeah, let's do it.
Most things, it's funny. When after I said no, I was like, that's really interesting because I usually would take an opportunity to do something new.
Yeah. Like
But
adventure.
that's a
Yeah.
little too far.
Yes.
I feel like it's not proven enough that it's safe where I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna die trying to do that. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
I'm good. It's
Yeah.
so funny. That's such a like a polar opposite answer. Nobody's like, I don't really know. It's either
Yeah,
yes
yeah.
or
I'm
no
like,
way.
no.
All right, next. If you had the opportunity to have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
Alive or dead? That's a hard question, man. Can I can take a second? I'm like sifting through all like the files of people I got up here. Alive or
Yeah.
dead?
Yeah, it could be anybody.
Ooh.
I mean, it could be anybody. For me, it's Jesus. I think that'd be super cool dinner.
Oh, that's cool. That would be. Can you answer all the questions we've been trying to answer as humanity
Yeah.
once and for all?
Let me get my
Um,
notebook.
yeah, yeah. I think I would have. Okay, so I would have dinner with my grandpa's parents,
Really?
specifically his mom.
So that
Yeah,
would be your great
my
grandmother.
great grandma. Yeah, her name's Ivanka.
That's cool. Have you ever met her?
No, well, I did. I was 8 months old when she
Oh,
passed.
just a
But
baby. Yeah.
can I elaborate on this here? I know we're
Yeah,
wrapping up, but
absolutely. That's why I asked these questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
super super strange. But ever since I can remember, I've just felt like really connected to her. And when I hear stories about her from my mom, because that was my mom's, that would have been grandmother-in-law, because it's
Yeah.
from my dad's side.
Right.
Um, she always spoke so highly of her. My grandma, so because it's my grandpa's mom, my grandma was like a daughter to her as well. And everybody always said that when she lived back in the old country in Serbia, she was like the keeper of the village, and people relied on her a lot because she had so much wisdom.
Oh,
And like I say, ever since I could remember, first of all, people always say, "Oh, you're so wise. Oh, you're this, you're that." And I'm always like, "What?" Like I just talk. But I think I got a lot of that from her, and so I would love to sit with her and like her presence, the way everybody talks about it, and ask her all these questions that I have. And I wonder, did you ask yourself those questions when you were a kid or when you were growing up? And I feel
yeah.
like so I went to see a, what do they call it? A psychic medium a
Yes.
year ago. October, actually, I think it was October 11th last year. This is crazy because that's tomorrow. I gotta
Yeah.
check my books. I went and saw a psychic medium, and I didn't even sit down. And this woman is like, whose name has a Ka in it? Ka. I'm hearing like a K-A. And I was like, Ivanka? And she was just like, yeah, who is that? And I was like, oh, it's my great grandma. And that was one of the reasons I went to see that psychic medium, because I wanted to know, like, am I crazy, or is she like around me? Because I can feel her sometimes.
That is amazing. And she
Yeah,
knew nothing. The psychic knew nothing about
oh no.
anything.
No, I was kind of like, I didn't she doesn't know anything about me other than my name, and
Mhm.
it was just like, she goes, "Who's the J standing next to her?" And I go, "Oh, Jovan, that's my great grandfather. That was her husband." But she can see the people that are connected to you, and like they'll it's I guess she could see them standing next to each other, but I was like, "Oh, this is a great start."
Was that, oh my God, that is so cool. Was that virtual or in person?
No, in person. It was like 60 minutes of just like rapid fire questions, because she was getting so many hits
Yeah. So many
from
people.
whatever was going on around me. And it's not just past, it's people in my life now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. That's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation.
Anyway, yeah, I know. We'll
Yeah,
do
that's
another
really
episode
interesting.
on that.
All right. Okay. So third question, and I might ask you a fourth because I don't know. Maybe I'll ask you a fourth one.
Okay.
Third question. If you could go anywhere in the world for a vacation, if money were no object, where would you go?
Switzerland.
Really?
Yeah.
You and Brett. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Him too?
I'm like, why do you want to go someplace cold?
Because you could imagine snowmobiling in Switzerland. Like the views, I don't know.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I know.
That or Japan. I want to go to Japan one day. I
Japan would
will
be,
go to Japan one day.
yeah,
But
Japan would be cool. Yeah,
yeah.
no, we not we don't argue, but we bicker all the time because I've never been on a cruise and he would love to take an Alaskan cruise. I'm like, I am not having my first cruise be in a Parker in mittens and gloves
Oh
outside,
my gosh.
you
You're
know.
only outside. When you're in it, you don't have to wear that.
I know,
I
but I
just
want to be
did.
in a bikini on the deck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
true. That's
so
true.
it's funny that you say that, but all right. Remind me, are you a dog lover?
I'm a I don't mind dogs, but I'm not like,
Okay.
oh my
For
God,
some reason, I
dogs.
thought we talked about maybe I'm thinking of
We
something else.
have a family dog. She's staying with me now,
What
actually,
kind?
but she's a Labradoodle. She's
Okay.
17 years old, but she is like a 6-year old, not a puppy, but people think she's like 6 years old.
Oh my God.
I
Okay, so
know.
here's what I was going to ask you, thinking that
Okay.
you were a dog lover. If you can't answer, if it's like too weird, then that's fine.
No, that's
You can
fine.
get a pass. If you were a dog, what kind of dog do you think you would be?
Oh,
I love this question.
that is funny. If I was a dog, I think I'd be a Labradoodle.
You really?
Yeah, I mean, my specific one here. She's an Australian Labradoodle, and she's really smart, but she's also like she's got a little bit of an attitude when she wants to. She can be a little stubborn. It reminds me a lot of when I was young. I mean, we got her when I was 10, so I practically raised her through my
Yeah.
childhood, but maybe she got it for me. I don't know. But I feel like I would be this dog right here.
Labradoodles, they're pretty spunky, right? Or are they
They're intelligent, but they can be like they say, she's stubborn. So if she wants to
stubborn? Yeah.
be an idiot, she will be.
My my boyfriend's sister that we were in Texas prior to
Okay,
Vegas,
yeah.
they have a golden doodle. And that dog, no offense if you're listening, Gail, that dog is just a box of rocks. So,
Golden doodles are very different
he's
than
a big,
Australian Labradoodles. Very different.
okay, he's a
Yeah.
big oaf, this
They're
dog.
yeah, no, my friend has two, and I always just look at those dogs and I'm like, what's going on up there? Not
Nothing,
much.
absolutely nothing.
Not much.
So yeah, it's so funny to watch because they also have a corgi. My corgi's brother lives there
Okay.
with his parents. They all live together, right? So it's the golden doodle and the corgi. And corgis are like, I don't know if you know anything about corgis, but they're like the smartest dogs. Like they're so smart and they're always
Really?
like thinking and curious. And it's just so funny to see the two of them together. It's very funny.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I don't know much about corgis, but I mean, I'm a
oh,
thinker, I'm curious, but I'm also I I feel like she's me when I was younger and I left that with her. You can keep that.
I want to see her. Is she here? Is she in the room with you?
She's got a cone on her head right
Oh,
now and
poor
all this
baby.
she's a little messed up right
Send me
now.
a picture of her later. What's her name?
Maya.
Maya. Okay.
I'll send you a photo.
Yes, please. And I will post it so that everyone can see Maya, what Maya looks like.
Without a cone.
Without
That's right.
All right, my dear, this has been fun. It's been a little longer than I, I usually go, but we got to talking at the end. So
Yeah.
sorry, everybody, if you were bored with our banter, but that's just us.
That's me for sure.
Anyway, well, thank you, Anna, for coming on. This has been great, and I look forward to hearing all about your new endeavor, your new business.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was amazing, and I can't wait to just keep seeing where we both go.
I know the future
Yeah,
is, the possibilities are endless. We've only just
endless.
begun. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody for listening to the Born or Made podcast, and I will see you next time.